said, well, I saw how much care you paid attention to, like the back. Like you put a paper flap on something, and the way I put the tape on it, a lot of people just put this tape on it and rip off the corners. I would actually use a razor blade and just kind of lop off the edges so it was clean and neat. And the guy says, I like the fact that you paid attention to details that didn't matter. The little things, the little things. Bones that you draw, my opinion of what they look like here. Mr. Barsay's opinion of what they look like. Scheider's opinion. Careful there. All the other books that are out there, their opinions. You're at the mercy of their opinions. Got to look hard. Find what works for you. This is the study of anatomy, so the bones have to look like bones. Not like plastic. Well, my internet's, this guy did something with computer models. One of the new books I just got at the Houston Public Library was a really beautiful book on anatomy. They gave me a lot of information. But all of the models in it are done with a 3D modeling program in it, and they look very plastic. They don't look like muscles. They are there, they're in the right places and everything else like that, but they don't look like what they actually look like. And they're good for me to understand what they are and how they attach to the forms, but they don't look like this. They don't have the tactile quality that the bones actually have. And so that's an attention to detail thing I want you to think about. I have my hair back. Eventually, once again, if I've got this much information down and I know where something's going to begin or end, eventually we're going to get to, one of the metacarpals is shaped like this one here. Let's look at it the right way. And then again, there's a ball on the end, and then the other part swings down, and there's another ball on the other end. That's basically the shape of it. And I know, now I know where it begins and where it ends. And of course, there's all the stuff on this side of it and that side of it that we'll have to also deal with. But eventually, we get down to the nitty-gritty of actually drawing it. And for me, and what I do on these, if you look at them a little bit closer, to a certain extent, some places there's a heavier outline than other places. Some places I've indicated shadows a little bit more. I do a lot of cross-hatching. I do a lot of I've found out where this is the light is, and the lighter areas, of course, are places where there are highlights, where the these are horrible lights to look at in this case, and this is all dirty and nasty. The one I have at home is a little bit nicer, but I had this sitting in one place, and it wasn't moving all over the place for me. And so eventually, I kind of got down to the point where I could then just deal with one bone at a time. Not necessarily the whole. I got to think of the whole first. But then when I'm actually doing the detail work, it's all about that one bone at a time, and to a certain extent, this section of it right there. Not that part down there, but this section right here. And what I often do is I kind of get the whole thing done. The 24 hours it took to do whatever. And then it's a good idea to kind of take a break. At home on projects, actually, I like to take the piece and do that with it. Put it against the wall, and I can't even see it. Okay, and leave it there for a day. Okay, if you have time. Okay, but 24 hours later, you turn it around. Okay, you've been removed from it for a little bit of time, because I know how it is. I get there. I've used the phrase "get in the zone." Time goes, hours go by, and you're having a good time. And that's good. Congratulations, it's like dancing. Get into the rhythm, and then you can dance all night. It's wonderful. But you can look at it new. You can look at it with fresh eyes. And I'm like, I need, I don't see this side as well as that. I need a little more, I'm going to hear about contrast a lot. I need a little more light-dark value to it. I need to make some highlights pop a little bit better. My watercolor needs just a little bit, more power because it looks a little wishy-washy. I need to push the charcoal a little bit more, the ink a little bit more to make the power of this come to life a little bit more. My gripe about these pieces, the ones that you see here, is they need more contrast. They're a little on the gray side, they're a little on the light side. They sort of blend in a little bit. That's my own critique of it. After I'd done them and all, I went, they probably needed a darker pencil or something like that to get the power in there that it needs. Step a little further back, they disappeared. So those are things that bother me a little bit, and I'm hoping that you see that too. You have the aesthetic understanding. Don't be afraid to be that critical of your own work. And that's where doing it progressively over a little bit longer time, making sure you get a little bit in this day, a little bit in that day, a little bit in the other day, that gives you a little bit of time, because a lot of us will put it up on the wall, and we get back here, and this is the first time we'll see it at this distance. Of course, some of our apartments are kind of small. My studio is a little on the small side, but it really helps to step back. I spend a lot of, Chrissy, my better half, she always comes in the studio when I step back and sort of looking. She kind of walks in, I thought you were working. I am, but she happened to pick that one moment when I was like stepping back, looking at what I'm doing. It's one bone at a time. You got to think of the whole, and I mean that by I need the type, I need the two views. Each one of these drawings that we do will be two views. They'll be usually either anterior, posterior, or a lateral view. It's okay. Pick the way you want to go with it. That one I showed you an example of, bless you, was three views because compositionally it worked very well, didn't it? They added the extra view because compositionally it worked very well. And there's latitude. You want to do things to make this more interesting. If you can, if there's something that as an artist you want to do with this that make it more interesting, put your personal stamp on it, that's fine. Do the problem first and then do the elements that add to it. And be sure, critical question to ask yourself, that it adds to it. I've seen people also do extra stuff to things and pull it back. It gets in the way of the project. It gets in the way of it. Make sure that whatever you're doing, background information, ancillary information that you think is nice, would be nice with this, adds to the problem, or adds to the solution, I should say, and not create a problem. That's a really bizarre thing to think about, but keep it in mind. Because I've seen that happen. And it happened to me. I had a really good teacher who was really good at being a minimalist, at doing just what's necessary to be very successful in his field. His name is Brad Holland. You might know his work, I don't know. But he, I was talking about him last night in the workshop. In the Academy Awards, which are going to be handed out in a couple of months or something like that, they will wheel out some old guy to win or receive the I think it's the Irving Thalberg Award. And the Thalberg was, of course, one of those pioneers of Hollywood that started some of the big studios and things like that. And he was a big purveyor of the film industry, And once again, that award is given always to somebody that's just still alive. Okay, he comes out with a walker, in the illustration field that I was studying under, Brad Holland, this teacher I mentioned a few minutes ago, won that basically same award in the illustration field. He won that same award when he was 30. He was that smart, that good. He was even thrown out, physically thrown out of the New York Society of Illustrators.